Good evening, everyone. Hi, this is Sherry Sims, founder of Black Career Women's Network, and thank you for tuning in for another career conversation. Tonight's guest is Miss Marsha Haygood. She is a career and personal coach with Stepwise and Associates, and she is going to be our special guest tonight. Now, we are doing a replay because last time she was on with us, we did have some technical difficulties, so we thought we would try this one more time. So welcome, viewers, to our career conversation. And those of you who are new and not familiar with Marsha, let me share some things about Marsha. Marsha, before she actually started Stepwise and Associates, after having a 25-year career as an executive in the corporate world, she started her own company. She created a career and personal development consulting firm, which is Stepwise and Associates, and the mission was very clear for her. It's to offer personal and professional guidance to individuals, corporations, and small business owners through coaching, facilitating self-exploration, and motivational what she does as well. She's been featured in a leadership book and also the co-author of one we'll talk about in just a moment. But the book is entitled Speaking of Success, along with best-selling authors Stephen Covey, Kevin Blanchard, and Jack Canfield. She also collaborated on her second book, which she's the co-author of, which offers wisdom and career guidance to women of color. And that book is The Little Black Book of Success, The Laws of Leadership for Black Women. Show the book, Marsha, show the book.
Oh, here it is. Yes.
This book, you guys. And so they released it at Random House back in 2010. So Marsha is also the co-founder of Leadership of Excellence and Developmental Strategies, which is called LEADS. And she's also one of the founding members of Black Women of Influence, BCWN. So if you've never been to any of their events in the New York area, you should definitely get on board and join. If you're in the New York, Jersey area, and also attend some of their events that they do every year. Also, too, Marsha possesses a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Psychology and Education and a certification in Training and Development. So without further ado, Miss Marsha, one last thing. Miss Marsha Haygood is also a BCWN mentor. How can I forget to mention that? So without further ado, Marsha, welcome back to our career conversation tonight. Can you hear me? Oh, I hope we're not having technical difficulties again. Marsha, can you hear me?
I can now.
Yes.
Once again, you faded out for a little bit of that, but I'm hoping that won't be the problem this time and that we won't have technical difficulty. Thank you so much, Sherry, for inviting me on to talk to you a little bit about success tips and strategies. It's a pleasure to be with you and a pleasure to talk to you and all the people who join you on these career conversations.
So let's jump right into talking about being the CEO of your life, taking charge of your life, being the boss, right? So
what would you like to know about
it? I know. Let's jump right in. So for you all, before we get into the meat of what Marsha is going to be sharing with us, with you viewers, if you are currently in the Google Hangout right now watching, you can use our Q&A box to type your questions in so Marsha can answer your questions. For those of you who are watching live from our website, feel free to tweet your questions, or you can actually have them posted in our Facebook group. I am watching both of those timelines. So if you do have a question, you want to make sure that Marsha gets those answered for you tonight. So just want to be able to share that with you. All right, Marsha, let's jump right in. So I know that we had put on the promo a couple of things that the women are going to learn about tonight, or any viewers that are watching tonight, in reference to being the CEO of your life. But I think what I want you to share first is that, what is your definition? What is Marsha's definition of being the CEO of your life? I hear you, but I don't know if it's coming through yet. Okay, so Marsha just texted me and said she couldn't hear me, so I think she's having a little bit more technical difficulty. Marsha, I can hear you now.
Oh, now
can you hear me?
Now I don't know what the technical but we're going to pray and make sure it works.
Yes.
So now I can hear you. Question was?
Okay, question is that I want you to give your, share with the viewers what your definition of being as the CEO of your life means. What's Marsha's definition of that?
Okay, my definition is that you think about what it is that you want to do and then work towards it. It's so often that we get so busy that we don't even think about what it is we want, what success looks like, what makes us happy. We sort of live by routine. And so being the CEO of your life means taking charge, being the boss of your own life. That doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do everything you want to do when you want to do it, but it means you have to be working towards something and working towards something that's going to make you happy, because I'm a believer that you can be both happy and successful. And so often people don't realize that. So being the CEO of your life means taking charge.
So let's talk about the triple S. You talked about you share with the viewers what the triple S means and how do you apply that to your life?
Well, the triple S means and that's strategy, skill, and success. Okay. And strategy means thinking of new ways. Skill is learning new things. And then success means celebrating your accomplishments, celebrating those things that you enjoy doing. So that triple S means if you put a plan in place, and you know what, let's go back. Let's start with the end in mind. What is it that you'd like to accomplish? And what steps you need to take to accomplish them? It means putting strategy to that. And it means if you don't have all of the skills, now what skills do you need to get so that you can be successful and that you can celebrate and that you can use strategy to get there? So I say success should be the first part. What does success look like? What's that end game look like? And then how can you go about working towards it? Who do you need to know to help you get there? And how are you investing in your own success?
Wow, I like that, the whole investing in your success. Let's talk about the invest for that for a moment. So we know you need strategy. We know you need to have skills, right? And the strategy piece is sometimes hard for people. But let's talk about that. How do you put a strategy together? What should you be thinking about first in order to create a strategy?
What you want to get to. Think about where you want to go. You can't put strategy if you don't set goals for yourself. So I think it means setting some goals for yourself, seeing where you are versus where you want to be. Where's the gap? And then thinking about how you get there in small steps. You're not going to go from being, if you're working, you're not going to go from being the receptionist to the CEO. But that doesn't mean because you're the receptionist, you can't be the CEO. But it means paying attention to that. Are you living the part? Are you dressing the part? Are you speaking the part? Are you socializing and developing your support team that are thinking of higher? Are you stretching to get to where you want to go? It's funny because so often people want to stay around the same people, do the same things, and get ahead. And chances are, if people are pulling you down and dragging you down and not believing in you, if you're not stretching, I say you're not growing. So if you're always very comfortable, you probably are not growing. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable and stretch accordingly.
So let's talk about that, because you're absolutely right. So we don't want to come out of our comfort zone. Sometimes we like our group of friends, but if we're trying to strive for this next level and they're not understanding, our journey and what we're trying to do, what are some of the things that they can do to say, you know what, maybe it's time for me to cut ties, or maybe just limit their communication with those people, and then how do they go about expanding their network, or expanding the people, their circle, not necessarily with a large amount of people, but people that they can learn from, who are doing what they want to do, and learn and grow in that area with them.
Well, I think you answered it. I think you have to um, be around people who are doing some of the things that you want to do. If you want to be an entrepreneur, then you have to know some entrepreneurs. If you want to in a new company or a new industry, you should go out and try to in those industries. We don't have to create the wheel. Sometimes we make it difficult on ourselves. And in this day of technology, you can always learn something from some new people. You can always connect with some new people. And it doesn't mean that you have to give up your old friends, but it means that you can't be around people who are draining your energy versus giving you energy. That's first. And then those people who
Yes.
don't have the same goals to stretch and grow, even if they're your friends, and sometimes, quite frankly, they may be your family, then you have to limit how much exposure you have to them. Because you know what? We instinctively have negative self talk. We doubt ourselves. So we don't need outside people helping us to doubt ourselves. We
Yeah,
need
we can do that
to,
all by ourselves.
we can do that all by ourselves. So we need to connect with people who are going to help us grow, who are going to help us move forward. And we have to watch the negative self-talk. I hear people who talk about wanting to be successful and wanting to do things positively, but every time you talk to them, they're talking about something negative. And then
Yeah.
they're around people who are negative. You can't do that. You need to be around people who are positive and think about um, the the opportunities that we're all afforded. It's just that we don't often take advantage of those opportunities, and we need to.
So for someone who may not know, for example, I guess I could just use us. Remember how, you and I had discovered the book
Yeah.
and read the book. It was so like, oh my God, this book is the best thing. And I just reached out to you. And it wasn't like an instant, like, bam, 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 love the book, here it is. It was a gradual process of, connecting with you on LinkedIn and having a few, correspondence back and forth then. And then eventually it grew into us having an actual phone conversation. So I guess cultivating that, building this type of relationship before we were able to actually connect via telephone. So, share with some of the viewers how they can do that, because some people don't know. They may want to reach out to their favorite author, like you. Like for me, it was you, or someone else that they want to connect with.
I
And
think
how?
I think I'm sorry, Sherry, I didn't mean to jump over you, but I
Oh
think
no, you're
technology helps play a part in that. Um, it's very funny because I say, and you know because you did it, when you LinkedIn, rather than using the lazy LinkedIn message, just hitting the connect button, and
that's your
I
lazy
say this
LinkedIn.
all the time, it's my favorite thing to talk about because I think so many people miss an opportunity. Instead, connect by saying something. Tell people why you want to connect with them, or remind them where we met, or say something and establish a relationship, or I'd love to keep in touch. Most people are willing to keep in touch with you, even if they're busy, as long as you're not, one, that you're not stalking them, two, if they know who you are, and three, you start to establish a relationship rather than just asking for stuff. And I'll give you a good example because this just happened to me. A woman who I met many years ago, haven't spoken to in a while. We did connect on LinkedIn, so I knew who she was, but I haven't heard from her for years. I get a LinkedIn message from her asking me would I introduce her to people down my LinkedIn list. Well, She forgot to say, hello, how are you? Are you still alive? Say something before you just ask for favors. Don't just assume that people are going to, that need to do things for you without you doing something in return. And doing something doesn't necessarily mean that you have to give them something, but you can at least
Right.
ask how they're doing, what's going on, can we reconnect? And you did that so eloquently when we met by saying, I don't know you, but I just read your book, loved your book, would love to get to know you. Right away, my answer was absolutely. Let's get in touch with one another. Let's talk. That's the way relationships start. And people who are not ready to invest in developing a relationship usually find it difficult. But you can do that with almost anyone. And you know what? Some people won't respond or some people won't answer. But you have to get past the no's, the people saying no, to get to a yes. So it doesn't mean I tried and so I'm not going to do it anymore. And it also doesn't mean, quite frankly, that they have to get back to you today just because you want them to talk to you today. It may take a while, but it can happen.
No, I agree with that. I think sometimes they do want, they want you to respond instantly or immediately, should I say. And sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes you just need to send it, let it go, and just live life. And then, of course, if they respond, you'll see it in your inbox.
That's right. And sometimes it may take more than one time, but it doesn't mean that you do it today and then they didn't respond, so you do it tomorrow and then you get mad. You do it today and maybe they're busy, and it may be, a week, it may be a month, it may be 2 months. But then you might say, you know what, I'm still interested in connecting with you, and you may have been busy before, but can we please still connect? I think you have to do that more than one time, because the same way you're busy, so is everyone else.
That's so true. That's absolutely true. So let's talk some more about, okay, so we talked about being strategic, and I think that's a very good point to make in terms of being strategic in terms of networking, but how to be strategic in doing that. So that's one. Let's talk about the skill piece of that.
Yeah.
What's important for them to look at in their skill sets if they're wanting to make a move, be bold, or be the boss? What should they be assessing within their skill sets? What's important for them to look at first?
How much time they're willing to devote to get the skill that they don't have. If you want to be, and I'm just going to pick an like we are, then I think that you need to do some research around entrepreneurship, and you need to talk to entrepreneurs. It's not just because I hear people say, and I hear it less now. I hear people say that I want to start my own company because I don't want to work this many hours. Well, guess what? If you talk to an entrepreneur, they're going to tell you that they worked far more hours than they worked in any corporate job, because you're then the janitor in the morning and the receptionist in the afternoon, and then the CEO maybe a little bit part of that day. And there's so many other skills that you need that you may not have needed before. So you need to talk to people who have done the job successfully. Say, if you want to own your own business, you should know what the business. If you want to be a financial analyst, you should talk to people who are financial analysts. If you want to, you should be talking to people in sales. And in this day and age with technology, you can get online, and more conversations like this, more webinars, more seminars, and then you have to invest in advisors, and I say that because I'm a coach and I'm advising people. I don't do
Right.
that for free. I don't do that for free. You have to pay for that. So I hear people say, I need a coach, but I don't have any money. And I say, okay, well, call me next year when you do. The matter is, you need someone to help you. You have to invest in your own development. And if you're not willing to invest in your own development, chances are you're not my ideal client.
Well, that was a mouthful right there. But you're absolutely right though, because I say this in our career talk calls and just regular conversations, that it's a responsibility to develop yourself. It's, you can't leave it to your boss or the company you work for. It's all up to you. And if you can go and buy that handbag or those shoes or that outfit, I'm serious though. As women, we love to shop, right? But if you can invest in that, you typically can invest in, because that's going to get you where you want to be, where you can buy more bags and more shoes and more and
That's
more
right.
wardrobe. So that's just real talk. And so we need to think about that. It's you. You're investing it in you. It's not like you're not giving it away. It's going to come back to you in a new job, whether you want to relocate for a new position, maybe for a new, whatever your goal is, it's going to come back to you in the form that you're looking for. But you got to put it, like Ilyana said, you got to put the work in. You have to do the work.
That's right. And I just want to go back to a networking piece. It's a strategy that I think of. If you go to a networking event, you're going with a group of your girlfriends, chances are, and hanging out with a group of your girlfriends, then chances are you're not networking to your full capacity. And if you're on a corporate job, we say this in the Little Black Book of Success, you might not want to go out and hang out with your colleagues and the people that you work with or your peers to an after work function. Realize that that's where the decisions get made. So sometimes, as uncomfortable as it may be, you need to go just so you can hear what's going on and be part of what's going on, because that's going to help get you promoted and get you noticed as well. And you may not feel comfortable with it, but as I said, you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So sometimes it means going to a network event by yourself and walking in that room by yourself and meeting people. Sometimes it means reaching out on LinkedIn or Facebook or one of those and connecting with someone who you don't know. Sometimes it means going out after work with colleagues that you may or may not like and being part of that conversation. Sometimes it means golf retreat, even because all of those things are going to help move you forward and are part of your personal development.
I'm glad that you're bringing this up, Marsha, because we have a lot of women who think they will hear that and think, "Oh, I've got to play the game," right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not necessarily saying you're playing a game, but it's like you said, it is part of your development, because if you're uncomfortable, like you said, if you're uncomfortable with that process, then obviously there is some growth that needs to take place during this experience in order for you to get more comfortable with doing that. And I do think too that it's part of the relationship building process in addition to the development of you.
Absolutely.
Them being able to see you outside the workplace in a different setting. All those things are important. Like, I was just telling someone I was talking to the other day, as just a kind of a initial call, that when it's more than you just going to work, putting your head down and doing your job and thinking you're just at it, and that's what's going to get you to be a superstar. It takes more than just doing your work. Some people in their minds, that's all it should be, and it takes so much more than that. And sometimes, honestly, it's more about the relationships you have sometimes versus just really not. Your quality of work needs to be great, but you can have all that. But if your relationships are really not what they need to be in the workplace with the right key people, then you're still going to stand still.
That's exactly right. And unfortunately, so many of us have been taught that you go to work hard, and let your work speak for you. And you know what? That may have worked a long time ago. That no longer works now. You have to be good. Yeah, you absolutely must be good. You have to be good at what you do, and you have to keep perfecting that. Okay, so that's said and done. But if you can't establish relationships and you have no one else speaking for you, then chances are you're not going to move, because we don't move up by ourselves. You always need someone speaking for you.
I love this. I absolutely love this, because this goes back to what I say: success never stands still. Success never
It doesn't. It doesn't stand still.
And you have to, this is so, I'm so, viewers, soak this in. Take it in. Because Marsha is so right. It takes so much more than you just doing a great job. You definitely need to have those relationships, and you definitely need someone to speak for you. And that sponsor is who she's pretty much talking about. That needs to be the person who can speak for you in the workplace. And I'm gonna tell you now, real talk, and Marsha will definitely will vouch for what I'm about to say. If you don't have any of that,
absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? I think I hear so many people say that they don't have the time. And you know, I know we're busy, but I think that people invest time in what they feel is important to them. So if you feel it's more important to watch TV than it is to write something or read an article, then that's what you're going to do. If you feel that it's more important for you to go to a party, a networking event, that's what you're going to do. If you feel that it's more important not go out after work with, then that's what you're going to do. But you have to live with the consequences of that, because those are all choices that you. I think that you can devote a little bit of time towards each step that will take you closer to your goal. And I say this to people because so often I see the same people who say they have no time, and they have 100 posts on Facebook. And I said, well, when did they have time to do that? You know, I don't understand. I don't understand. And they didn't have time and understand it. And it's another one of my pet peeves, but let me share it with you. People who don't return phone calls, you know, because they didn't have, you're making them, because in this day and age, leave a message. I don't care while you're on the train, or leave a message, say something, say, I'm real busy now, didn't get a chance to talk to you, but I got your message and I'll talk to you next week. If it's urgent, let me know. Everybody can do that, but not to call and then 3 months later they call. You know, there's some people who I know, when I get that call, I say, uh-oh, they're in trouble, they're getting ready to lose their job or something, because I haven't heard from them in the last 2 years, but now I'm getting these urgent calls. You can't do that with people. It's not cool, and it's not going to get you to where you need to go. So sometimes it means texting somebody or sending a little note and saying, just thinking about you. Just want to say hello. Don't have a lot of time, but just want you to know I was thinking about you. It's easy to do. Easy enough.
That does make a lot of difference for people when you do that. Even if, you know, I know over the holidays last year, you know, I tried to send out a text message to you know, just the people I hadn't talked to in a long time. I said, Happy Thanksgiving, or, you know, Merry Christmas, or something that I hadn't, you know, there hadn't been any correspondence between us in a long time, but just wanted to, and I just said, you know, happy holidays, you know, let's stay in touch, or let's touch base soon, you know, that type of thing.
And Sherry, I would say, if you can, do it when it's not the holiday, because your texts and your emails and everything get caught up in everybody else. If you want to send it out, do it at a different time. So I'm in the summer saying, you know, hope you're enjoying the summer. Something that's not going to get lost. You have to learn how to differentiate yourself and set yourself apart from the ordinary. And there are easy ways to do that. And people need to learn the strategy as well.
So that's a good strategy that she's sharing with the viewers tonight, is about, you know, just differentiating yourself, doing things differently so they can remember you, and, you know, and be consistent, I would think, too.
Yes.
In terms of your communication when you do that. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I think I have. Let's see if I still have it up or not. So I can pull it back up. Bear with me, guys, while I get it back up here again. And I think the next one that we had was specifically around from your article. And for those of you, we'll share the article at the end of the career conversation tonight. We're talking about this specifically from an article that Marsha has written, which is called, being the CEO of your life. And this is what our conversation really is solely around as well. So I'm looking forward, and I just had it, and I found it now.
Well,
I don't know what I did with it. It was on my iPad. Now it's gone.
Okay, well, I'll help you through it. One of the things that you asked me earlier, and you asked me to talk a little about, is how do you stay on track when you start doing this? Besides follow up, how do you stay on track? So there's a couple of things that I do that I have found helpful. Now, understand that even though I'm here in my office in Florida now, I live a good portion of the year in New York. So I have the opportunity to be on the train, going home, and that's where I can write a lot of my little quick emails to things that are hogging up your time or taking you off track. Put systems and tools in place to keep you on track. So an example of that is, a lot of times I'm writing my emails when I'm on the train or bus, because I'm sitting there anyway. So instead of listening to music or reading a book, that's a good time for me to write you a note. So I can write you a note saying I'm thinking about you, and I might write that to 4 or 5 people, because I know that I want to keep in touch with people. Another one is, I love social media. I don't do it well, but I love social media, but I'm curious about a lot of things. So I can get lost on the internet. I start a thing and, oh my, click here for more information, and I could be gone for hours. I know that. So right next to my computer, here it is right here, right next to my computer is my egg timer. Because when I click that click here button, I'll look and say, I only have 10 minutes to do this, to get lost. And I put my egg timer on 10 minutes, because I know that if I don't put it on 10 minutes, an hour and a half may pass where I'm reading something. You already know what gets you distracted. You have to put systems in place so it'll bring you back. Back is not so difficult when you own up to those take you off track. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. I think that using a timer for certain things definitely helps increase your productivity, and it keeps you on task. And you probably will get a lot more done than what you think, especially if you don't have a lot of discipline to stop on your own.
That's me.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely have done a couple of projects here lately and have used that system, and I never really had to use it before. And I thought, my God, I needed this. So It definitely has helped me stay more conscious of my time by doing that. So I think that's a great way to stay on track in terms of being productive.
And
so what do you think about?
I also, Sherry, I also have to write things down. Mm-hmm. So I, keeping lists for me. Some people putting their lists computer on their phone. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work well for me. I know it doesn't mean it won't work for everybody, but it doesn't work well for me. Still that old school that has to have paper. I still have
and that's okay. We all have our reasons.
I have a paper calendar because I need to look at the whole week at the same time. I have a I write things down in my notebook, and in the little black book, we talk about having a PLN. That's a personal leadership notebook where I can jot things down that are going to be helpful to me. When I have an accomplishment, I write it in my accomplishment section. When I create a goal for myself, I put it in my goals section. I have an idea, and I have a lot of those, which happens to be my biggest section in my book. I don't want to carry that idea in my head, but I can't work on it right now. So I have an idea section. I put it in the idea section so I can look at it later. And all of those things help me. People should decide what works best for them. Give themselves some time to think. You know, a lot of times we never have quiet time. We're never still. So be still, give yourself some quiet time to think, and then put some things in place that can help you, or hire somebody who can. And I
Yeah,
don't
this is true.
that's true.
You know, I have gotten away from, I have a notepad that I carry with me everywhere, and I do use it to jot down ideas that come into my head. But for me, I definitely have come to become a phone lady where I'm like, it's like, if it's not beeping up alert time for me, I will forget. So, but I've kind of conditioned myself for that because I've gotten older and my priorities have changed and my workload is heavier. I just need to also adjust how I manage that time and how I, really go about tracking what I do. So don't be afraid, viewers, to also adjust how you do that. So if you've been someone who's used to using your phone and you want to go back to pen and paper or what have you, adjust that. Writing my ideas down in a booklet is better than me than putting them on my phone. And I carry that book with me everywhere, and I put certain things in that book, and then certain things go into my phone. So, but that works. That's my system.
Right. And everybody should develop their own system, but
right.
They should think about what's going to work for them, not what the trend is.
It's absolutely. Not what the trend is. Don't go with the trend.
Work best.
Yeah, because if you're following the trends, that can get so overwhelming and for some people intimidating if you think that's what you're supposed to do or you're supposed to change. If it's not fixed, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Leave it alone. If it's working, just continue to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I want to go to this next one because I really want to get this out, this question out there. What I want them to learn from you in reference to this here, which is, why giving life to your big ideas is important for your success?
Oh, I think that it's important because you want to get to happy. It's so, I'd love to write an article saying getting to happy.
Right.
Because so often we are doing things or because we think we have to, or because we blame other people. In the book that I'm writing now, I talk about there are 3 things that you blame for not taking your dreams out of storage: money, time, or people that you blame. You never really blame yourself. you usually say, when I get some money, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Or when I have some more time, I'm going to do this and this and that. Or when the kids get out of school, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I said, well, what stopped you from doing it now? What have you done? What small steps have you taken to for what you're going to do later? And usually it's nothing. Anything that they're going to wait, have to get to happy. It requires some preparation. An example of that is talk about money. And I said, well, have you saved? How much money do you spend each week? How much in a given month? Where does every penny go? And usually if they can really be honest with themselves and add up all the money they spend on stuff they don't even know they spend it on, they would have a little extra money to save, even if they got all the same thing. And then I'm big on telling people, 2 years before I left my corporate job, I said, okay, I had to shop in my own closet, because you've been buying for years and years and years. You really have enough stuff. So what I bought was like one of those clothes racks that you see people in New York. You see garment district walking down the street with clothes on a rack. Those racks, a fold up rack. And when I want to shop, I just take my clothes out of the closet, put it on the rack, so they look like. So I can say, "Oh, this goes with that." Make it up and have fun with this. But you don't have to buy a new outfit for every occasion. You don't have to buy
Right.
new shoes for every occasion. In your closet, and chances are you can find it.
That's true. You can
Yeah.
mix those pieces up. So we have a viewer who she wanted to share something. Ruth Young Tyler. Hi, Ruth. Thank you for watching. We're so glad you're tuning in. Good evening, ladies. I write and work from lists often. Where can we purchase a PLN, your personal leadership notebook? She said this sounds like a great idea.
Okay. The person you can buy any book that is small, is big enough for you to write in, but small enough that it can fit in one of your bags, because you want to carry your PLN with you. My personal leadership notebook, I on the side, but it's the same size as as the little black book. I just have it divided into sections. And this is just mine, I bought it from Levenger. Take the pages out and move it in, and do it that way. So my book is from levenger.com. And then you make the sections that are important to you. There's certain sections that I think should always be in your PLN. And one of those is accomplishments, because oftentimes accomplishments, we forget, or we take them for granted. So when you can start writing them down, then you'll remember them. If you work in a corporation or in a company where you're going to have a performance evaluation, you need to have your accomplishments down, because I cannot tell you how many times I see people who get annoyed because their boss didn't remember all the wonderful things they did. But when I say, well, you tell me all the wonderful things you did, you can't remember either. So I say, write those things down. So your accomplishments should definitely be written down. Celebrate those. When times are feeling hard, you getting down on yourself, you need to be able to open that book, look at those accomplishments, and celebrate your successes. For me, the idea is real important. So I have an idea section. Another section that's good, because I always see this, and you've helped me with this one, Sherry, is there needs to be a resource section. Because you hear about these new apps, these new this new website, this new that. I can't remember all of those things. So I just write the resources, a new book to read. I just write it down in the resource section, and then I can go back and look at it later. So that's another one. And I have been writing my goals down on an annual basis since 1988. And I
No, but
can
that's
go
good.
back.
No, that's good though, Marsha, because I do that once a year too. I'll put down what I want to accomplish for the whole entire year, and then I'll go back and see, and then I think I always have at least one or two things I didn't accomplish that year, but the majority of everything else I accomplish.
Well, mine is I always have weight loss on there, and I never get that done, but that's okay.
I don't even put that one on mine.
It's just nice to put down. At this point, it's just like okay, just yeah, I could add it to 9. I still have that one on there.
It just looks good to put on the list.
It just looks good to put on the list. So you have that. But there's some others, and I do a self audit. Uh, twice a year. I pick a date, and my date happens to be around the July 4th holiday, where I can stop and say, these are the goals that I set for myself. Where process did am I on track or not on track, and should I tweak something or do it differently. And then I do it again at the end of the year to see what I've done and make new goals for the following year. So I think of goals.
I like that idea of a self audit, every 6 months. I'm assuming, twice a year.
Yeah.
I like that idea of viewers. I think it's great. I think, and I challenge you all to do that. Let's take that out of here and see how we can make that a challenge. I think that self audit every 6 months is a good idea for some of our members to do.
And you can't just say just every 6 months. You got to pick a date so that it's coming up. Put it on your calendar. Put yourself on your own to-do list and make it work for you. I think that's vitally important to move forward. So I do that. And then the other thing that I do, and people question me on this all the time, is I actually send out I usually do it every other year. I send out a feedback form and ask people in different parts of my life to give me feedback. What are words that they would use to describe me? What do they think my strengths are? What do they think I need to improve on? And at first people were like, oh no, I'm not writing anything down. She's going to get mad. But I've been doing it so often now that people will write me back, and I do it in different parts of my life.
Wow. So, I like this. I'm learning stuff tonight. I'm liking this. So it's like when in a corporation, they do a 360, right? 360.
Yeah.
But you're doing it for other parts of your life outside of the workplace. And I'm loving that,
Yeah.
Okay, viewers, another challenge. I think that's another challenge that, pick and choose though. Don't you agree, Marsha?
Absolutely. And you can do it with people in your family. You can do it with people, I even did it with neighbors. So I did people in my family, neighbors, people that I work with, and some of my clients. So you get different kinds of answers back, but that's okay. And you can't argue with the people if they say something that you don't agree with. You have to listen. And I ask people to write it back to me. But if people talk to me about it, it was only in listen only. I could not, no response to say, well, wait a minute, I didn't really do it that way, or you didn't understand. There's no argument about it. Feedback is to be heard, not to be challenged.
Right. So you hear that, viewers? Feedback is to be heard, not to be challenged, right? Because if you're trying to challenge it, you're not listening anyway.
Right. And then chances are people aren't going to give you the real feedback anymore.
Nope. Yeah, you just messed that up for good.
Messed that up for good. Yeah.
Okay, so let's recap a couple of things then real quick, Marsha, from tonight's conversation about being the CEO of your life. So we talked about how to apply the triple S's. Can you name the triple S's off again for the viewers?
It's strategy, skill, and success. What do you want success to look like? What skills do you need to get there? And what strategies can you use to help you move forward?
Okay. And so the next one was how to stay on track. So just recap what that means for the viewers.
Staying on track means knowing what takes you off track and putting systems or tools in place to get you back on track, whether it be writing something down, whether it be the egg timer, whether it be doing certain things differently, whether it means putting a timeline in place, whether it means, getting a PLN. I just did one where I gave myself and this goes back almost a year now, I gave myself a bedtime.
A bedtime?
Yeah, I gave myself a bedtime because, especially when you work on your own and your office is in your house, you can be doing this a lot. So I gave myself a bedtime that at least I strive for. I might not always go to bed at that time, but at least when you have a time, you're working towards that time. Right. Rather than saying, oh, I could just stay up forever, So I just gave myself a bedtime and I try to stick to it.
My bedtime is 10 o'clock and I don't ever make it. I don't never make it.
Well, mine is 11:15. And I try to make it. And I try to get off my computer earlier than that so that I
Yeah.
have some downtime. But
Yeah.
11:15 is my bedtime, and I'm pretty good. But before I gave myself that 11:15 bedtime, it was always after midnight. So it's just a little bit. Just take
Yeah.
15 minutes off, and then maybe you could take 15 minutes off again. You can't
That's,
say, um, you can't take the whole hour off at one time. You got to do it in spurts. So maybe 5 minutes earlier, and then 10 minutes earlier, and then 15 minutes earlier. Try different things.
that's true. That's
It
true.
works.
So let's, the next one is why change is necessary to move forward.
If it's not working, you got to make some changes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're comfortable with everything that's going on in your life, then there's no need to change at this point. It will be, but it won't be, it's not now. But if you want to do something different, in order to get different results, you have to do things differently. And you have to be open to doing things differently. And again, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
And that can be so hard to do sometimes for people, you know. And you know what? I've always been a risk taker myself, pretty much all my life. But there has been times where sometimes I'm like, my goodness, you know, you get tired of kind of feeling the uncomfortableness for all the time. You know,
That's right. Exactly.
you do get kind of tired of it, but and I got this from you. I learned this from you is that you have to keep the bigger picture, or you know, keep the end result in mind as you push through that uncomfortableness.
That's right.
So
That's
yeah,
right.
so I learned that from you. And then the last one, I just want to make sure we put some emphasis on this because, you know, people, I want to know that their big idea is, you know, sometimes it's something that was a gift for them that they should just, I think they owe it to themselves to discover how they can really bring that big idea to fruition, especially if it's going to bring them happiness.
Yes.
So just wanted you to just kind of reiterate out why giving life to your big idea is important for your success.
You know, I think about this one a lot. I think that we should dream big. We usually put limits on ourselves. But when you dream big, think about how young kids think they can do anything. They just think they can do anything, and then they go after it. I think it's nothing wrong with dreaming very big and then putting some action behind it. Take those dreams out of storage. Think about those when you were younger. This is for them now. Start now. You know, you can't say, oh, it's too late. Oh, I'm too old. No, I'm going to do it when the kids get out of school. Just now, or discard that idea and come up with another big idea and then try that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's so exhilarating to dream big, positive dreams if you're going to move on them. And you don't have to take big steps. They could be small steps. But you have to dream. If you don't, you know, the medical reports say if you don't dream, you will hallucinate. Everybody dreams, even if they don't remember their dream. So
Ouch.
I say the thing: if you don't dream, you're gonna die. You're gonna rot because you're staying in the same place. So dreaming is a necessary part of life.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree. So what would you say to the viewers who are just anyone who eventually will listen to this when listen to the playback and they're in that place where they're unhappy with their job or they want to do something different, they feel like they're stuck or they want to wait for that pension because they've been there for 20 years but they want to do something different. What is your advice to the ones who feel stuck and afraid to move?
Um, Try something a little new. Don't make a big step because you're not going to be. Those people who are in their job, and I'll take the one that you said that, you know, they feel like they're stuck in their job and they're just, you know, but the pension won't allow them. They feel like they have golden handcuffs. There is something good about that job. If they would stop thinking negatively about the job, they could find something positive. It may be because of where they work, they get to meet someone else, or they get to take a class, or they get to say they have a job there and they can help someone. Sometimes getting unstuck means helping other people, reaching back and bringing others along. So, what are you doing? And I emphasize doing, not
I
thinking.
love this.
What
Yes.
are you doing
Mm-hmm.
to get yourself out of that rut? Are you surrounding yourself with the right people? Are you surrounding yourself with positive people? Because if you are, then you're not always feeling stuck. I think I I have this little thing that I say to people. Think about how you talk to yourself and how you talk to people. And would you invite somebody like you to your party? If you wouldn't, then change your attitude. So when you change your attitude, when you change your mindset, you change. So if you're one of those people who are always complaining and everything is negative, it's too hot, it's too cold, too rainy, it's too bad. They don't pay me enough. It's too takes too long. The train is late. Everything is a problem. Then guess what? Nobody who's positive is going to want to be around you.
Yeah.
So start changing your attitude. Find some good in this. And you know what comes with that? A gratitude journal.
Mm-hmm.
And and I have a quote that a pastor said years ago, and I use this quote often. If you can't be grateful for what you have, be thankful for what you avoided. Because you could have
Oh my
got
goodness. Oh my, isn't it the truth? Isn't that the
but
truth?
be grateful.
Yes,
Instead of everything being bad, be grateful that you didn't go outside and get hit by the bus.
I know.
You know,
Now that you say it that way, Marsha, okay.
I just I just I just think it's so much easier to be happy, to be grateful, to be positive. It takes too much energy to be angry and mad and negative all the time. It takes a lot of energy to do that. It takes less energy to be positive.
Well, this has been awesome. So I know viewers, I know I learned a lot, and I know if I learned a lot, I know you guys absolutely learned a lot as well. Marsha gave some really powerful tips tonight for our to be the CEO, or how to be the CEO of your life. So before I go in, well, actually, Marsha, let's start that now. Let's go ahead and just do it now. How can the viewers find you or reach you?
Oh, and they should definitely reach out to me. My company is Stepwise Associates, STEP as in Peter, WIS as in Sam, E Associates. So you can always shoot me an email. It's mhaygood at stepwiseassociates.com. I'm on Facebook. My company name is Stepwise Associates LLC. Uh, you can link in with me, but send a real message. Don't send a lazy LinkedIn message. I want to know how we know each other. How talk to me. Talk to me. Um, and contact me. And if I can be of help to them in getting unstuck, I have a coaching practice. I do speaking engagements, and you have all my information because I'm one of the mentors on your website as well. So people
Yeah.
should people should stay in touch. Be in touch with positive people who can help you stretch and grow, and be ready to share with them as well. So I think we all can learn from one another. If they're in New York, they can come to one of the Black Women of Influence events. As a
Yes, I
matter
was
of fact,
hopefully I was going to talk about that. Yeah, so
yeah.
share with the viewers, for those that may not be that are viewing right now, that may not be New Yorkers. Share with them about Black Women of Influence and what you guys do.
Um, we are who have come together each other win. Year we network with one another. We don't wear our titles on our. We come together and learn and share information about career and and we network. And as a matter of fact, today is they're having one in New York. I'm in Florida, but tonight is an event that we put together several times a year called Women, Wine, and Wealth. And we do things around how to get your budget in order, how you go about investing or thinking about investing. And next month is one on estate planning. So it's just, they can always go to blackwomenofinfluence.com and learn more about the organization as well. And so far, we're just in New York, but that may change. And go from there.
There you have it. So if you are anyone is ever going to be in the New York area, and then just check the calendar and see what they have upcoming. If it's going to be the timing matches with when you're going to be there, and definitely it's definitely worth going to one of the BWOI events. So
yeah,
that
and follow me on Facebook and Twitter and all of that good stuff as well.
Yes, and Marsha's Twitter handle is Stepwise ASSOC. So Stepwise ASSOC. So you can follow her on Twitter. And please do not send her a lazy LinkedIn message. Let her know.
Right, exactly.
If you were on
my website, they can join my mailing that I send out. They will do that as well.
Okay, good. And if you do decide to connect with her via LinkedIn, just make sure that you do share that you did watch her on tonight's BCWN career conversation, and that would not be considered a lazy LinkedIn because you'd be connected to your level. So I had to add that, Marsha. Sorry about that.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, Marsha, hold tight real quick before we go ahead and sign off. Thank you, viewers, for watching tonight's career conversation. We're so glad that we were able to get Marsha on tonight's career conversation. I know we had some technical difficulties last time she was here with us, but definitely something we were able to get through and get things going tonight. So I hope you all learned a lot from this wonderful woman that is full of wisdom and one I consider my own mentor. And so she definitely is, again, she is a BCWN mentor, so feel free to reach out to her to any of her social networks. So just reach out if you have a question. Wanted to go ahead and share with you all that next week's career conversation is going to be with Janelle Hazelwood. This is going to be part 2 of our career conversation series with her, where she's going to be talking about getting past the fluff and monetizing your purpose via networking. So she's going to be back with us next week to talk about specifically networking to monetize your purpose. And then the week after that, we're going to have Jacqueline Twilley is going to be on our career conversation. And she's going to be discussing with new college grads, and even for those ones who have just received their master's, how do you negotiate a new salary now that you've got this new degree? So she'll be here to share some tips and tools about that. And then on June 8th, I am so excited about this. We are going to have Dr. Avis Jones DeWeaver is going to be with us. She is going to be our first guest in our new series, which is called The Corner Office, and where we're talking about leadership triumphs, advice, and just really just sharing what it takes to be a leader. And she's going to be here sharing some excerpts and some tips and things from her new book, which is called How Exceptional Black Women Lead. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be coming up on June 8th, and you do not want to miss that. So I want to leave you guys with this quote. Oh, one last thing before I leave with a quote. Make sure that you share your experience or share any aha moments you've had about tonight's career conversation with Marsha. You can tweet her on her Twitter about how this career conversation was able to help you and be impactful. And you can also share your with us on our Facebook group or our Facebook page or on our Twitter account, which is at BCW Network, or my Twitter handle, which is BCW Network CEO. So I want to share that with you all. And for you women who are on listening, and this is your first time on a career conversation, and you are not a BCWN member, please join. We're offering 50% off to new members, new viewers of tonight's career conversation. Just use BCWN 50% off for your coupon code to take advantage of that offer. So I'm going to leave you with this. The life God gave you is larger than the life you've been living, which means that he gives us all special gifts, and it's our job and our responsibility to discover what those are and use those gifts to work in our purpose. So I'll leave you with my quote, which is know your worth, discover your strengths, and work in your purpose. And I will see you all next week. Have a great rest of the fabulous work week, and we will talk to you soon. Good night.
Good night.